Okay, and this was White Rose Maths' last Barvember bar modelling challenge, and it's quite a cute one, not least because it's all about bar modelling, but I think it is a very good model that does show how useful bar modelling can be. Right, 570 people solved this bar modelling problem. People solved it using either 3 bars, 2 bars, or just 1 bar. The total number of people who solved it using 1 or 2 bars was 5 times the number of people who solved it using 3 bars. There were 960 bars drawn in total, and we're asked how many people solved it using just 1 bar. Okay. Now we have various bits of information that we will need to keep. We'll have to keep on track and check which bit of information that we're using. But the bit I'm going to focus in on, I'm always looking in a bar modelling problem if I can show how big something was compared to something else. So this is the bit that I'm going to start with, where it says the total number of people who solved the problem using 1 or 2 bars was 5 times the number who solved it using 3 bars. So I'm going to draw a bar to represent that. I'm going to use 2 squares to represent 1. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The only reason I'm doing that is just to make it a nice size. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Okay, so this is the people who solved it using 1 or 2 by drawing 1 or 2 bars, and here is a bar. This bar represents the people who solved the problem using 3 bars. Okay, and what you'll note is I don't know how many of these people represented here solved it by drawing 1 bar. I don't know how many of them solved it by drawing 2 bars, but I do know that all of the people represented here solved it by drawing 3 bars. Okay, what else do I know? I know that there were 570 people here, represented here. And I can also put in this other bit of information now, if I like, that there were 970 bars drawn in total. I do have to be careful that I know what this bit of information represents. So that was 960 bars. Okay, were drawn in total. All right, I'm going to put that in brackets because this I don't want you to think that the proportions are represent this by this. Okay, this bar is about the people, but these 570 people drew 960 bars. I'm just making sure I've got that piece of information somewhere. Okay, right, now what do we know? Well, I can see immediately that 570 people is represented by these nice equally sized portions, and I know that they are equally sized because this is 5 times this. So altogether I have 6 equal size pieces. So if I divide 570 by 6, I should get the value of each of these. So 570 divided by 6, 9, and that gives me 95. So I now know that each of these blocks represents 95 people. Okay, I'm going to put a little p there just to be very clear. 95. I don't need to write all these in, but I will. 95 people. Okay, now this still doesn't tell me how many of these people drew 1 bar and how many of these people drew 2 bars, but what I do know is that all of these 95 people drew 3 bars. So if I do 95 times 3, and I get 285. That means I know that these people here, in total, they drew 285 bars. So 285, oh, that's a different blue, oh well, 285 bars were drawn by these people here who drew 3 bars. Okay, so, wait, what else do I know? Okay, well, I know that I had 95 people here. I have, how many people are represented here? Let's have a look at that. 95 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I do 95 times 5, I will get the total number of people represented here. And that would give me 475. So I know that I've got 475 people represented by this block. So 475 people drew either 1 or 2 bars. I know the total number of bars, and I know that these people drew 285 of them, which means that the difference between this amount and this amount must be the number of bars drawn by this set of people. So I'll do 960 subtract 285. Okay, and that gives me 675 bars. This is bars. Okay, because that was 960 bars, subtract 285 bars, and that leaves me with 675. 675 bars. Okay, now if you think about it now, I've got 475 people and they drew 675 bars. Now, if I think about what's the difference between that, there's a difference, I mean, it's quite easy to see a difference of 200. It means that 200 of these people must have drawn not 1 bar, but 2, because I've got an extra. Had all of them drawn 1 bar, I would have 475 bars. But 200 people must have drawn 2 bars to give me 675. But let's just check that. So we'll do, just to write down what I'm doing. So 675 bars, subtract 475. That gives me a difference of 200. Okay, so I know then that 200 people drew 2 bars, and what we're asked though is how many people solved it using 1 bar. So I need to do the 475 subtract 200, which gives me 275 people. Okay, so 275. There we go.